Hi, good evening again to everyone. So today, the conversation today is around how can the little guy grow their business? How can you also compete? How can you also compete? How can you stay in this space and also make money? And first, I want us to understand that our Greek is asset heavy. And I think I've explained that using different examples in the past. I always like to use Uber or an Airbnb, for example. If Airbnb needs to increase its revenue and all of that, Airbnb is not going to start investing in buildings. Instead, they will think of creative ways to get more people to give their houses and more people to use such accommodations, right? On the flip side, if you are looking at a farm that wants to increase, the farmer will be thinking of how much more money do I need to invest to be able to get this done. And the problem or the reality with this is, as a business, I need to sit down and start thinking creatively. How do I increase how do I increase my reach without having to necessarily invest the commensurate amount that others would invest? And this is where I feel a lot of farmers have not been able to creatively hack that space. Because what you have is, when you tell the farmer, oh, you need to be able to do 1 ton per day, the first thing you hear the farmer say is something like, where will I get the money to build that kind of farm? Where will I even get the land? If I even get the land, where will I get the money? Meaning, the farmer is still thinking bricks and mortar, because in the farmer's mind, the only way to increase is to intentionally have to do personal investment. And this is why Greek, for the most part, has been hard for a lot of young entrepreneurs. Because see, you need to understand this. I've said this before in passing. In Greek, if what you grow has low margin, then you need to be able to churn out volume. If what you grow has high margins, then a little volume is fine. Now, another way to get high margin is to sell upwards, meaning you are selling to the upper echelon, the big clients. But the problem is, if I need to sell to the upper echelon, the big clients, there are too many farmers to service that very small market. There are too many farmers that we always say we want to focus on the 1% or even the top 10% in the country. And because the problem with the top 10%, especially the top 1%, is they have money enough to even bring it from outside. So that competition is not only local, there is also the international dimension. Worse off, that international dimension comes also with social status. So if I am saying I want to compete, sorry, my head is going up and down because the other, I'm using the lower one for YouTube. So if I need to compete, it becomes a very hard nut to crack, right? So what then can I do as a farmer to still fight in this space, to still have a bone in this space, to still have a say in this space? Because you see, if I cannot fight to sell to the upper echelon, then it means I am in the mass market. I am in the mass market. Now, the problem with being in the mass market is, if I am selling to the open market, there are no guarantees. Because the first open market or the first mass market is the open market. If you are in Lagos, Aziz, and all of that, you are talking about the My 12 and all of that, My 2, Sele, Oshodi, Aziz. And the problem with that market is, yes, they have the capacity to take large volume, but it is a buyer's market. They cannot give you any contracts. They cannot give you any guarantee because they will let you even know from the get-go. We don't know how much you go buy tomorrow. Now, waiting market talk could determine tomorrow's price. So, it means that from the get-go, with that market, you don't have guarantee of offtake price. And because you don't have guarantee of offtake price, you cannot guarantee your financials. Your financiers, rather. You can't also give them guarantee. And if you cannot give those guys guarantee, then you are just doing kalo. Even the insurance company will want to treat you extra hard just to even work with you and insure you. Do you get the point where I'm coming from? So there are too many loose ends. The option number 2 is to say, okay, if I don't want to go after the open market, who are my next best option? The next best options are the guys we call the FMCGs. The guys who deal with fast-moving consumer goods. Notice it is called that for a reason. They are consumer goods that move very fast, which means these companies are able to do multiple turnovers with this thing because they are fast-moving consumer goods. Fast-moving. And if they are fast-moving consumer goods, it also means one thing. Remember, it is volume. It also means that they are not going to give you high margin. But the secret or the key to making it in that space is I can supply volume. Let me put it another way. If you sell cucumber to the top echelon, the 1% of 1%, you are probably selling your cucumber maybe 1.5 per kilo. I don't know, I'm just saying. Maybe 1.5 per kilo. And you are saying, oh, I am making 1,300 profits. But in that market, you cannot sell a ton in a week. No. In short, even maybe in a month, you won't sell a ton at 1.5 per kilo. But if you choose to go to FMCGs, these guys that are into processing, converting your product to other products. Now, remember that you just made maybe 1.3 profit times 1,000 tons in a month. Maybe that's 1.3 million, right? But on the flip side, if you think around, I want to sell this thing to FMCGs, they might maybe buy from you at 2,200 or 2,250. And you are maybe making only 15 naira per kg. And you are like, 15 naira per kg, that is small. But they might take up to 10 tons in a week. Let's even say they took only 2 tons or 5 tons in a week. When you do 5 times your 5 tons or 5 times 10 tons, you hit 500K. In a month, you are hitting 2M. Now, this is the point I'm trying to make. With FMCGs, the goal is volume. The goal is volume. And I know that as a smallholder farmer, the number one problem you have is you do not have volume. So the question then becomes, if I don't have volume and I want to meet FMCGs, how do I get FMCGs to buy from me knowing I do not have volume? You then need to look for people to collaborate with. You know, I've always been shouting that as smallholder farmers, we must understand how to collaborate. Because by the time you combine maybe 20, 30, 40 of smallholder farmers like you together, you can now qualify to supply a conglomerate. And the bigger advantage of that for you as a conglomerate is whatever risk that happens, that risk is shared. If there is a risk, all of us share it together. But what we know for certain is we cannot be stranded. We cannot overproduce. We cannot produce and they will say because it's in season. No. They will surely offtake. 2 or 3, Because you are bringing in different farmers, you can also bargain. You can also bargain. Think about it. Do you know that part of your bargaining chip as a farmer is the number of trees you have on your premises can also be used as a bargaining chip for carbon offset? Do you know that? But your own farm alone is too small to be able to make that negotiation. Your own farm alone is too small to be able to pull that. You are able to say, oh, by working with us, you are able to also tell the world that you are working with smallholder farmers, that it is because of you we are surviving. Big conglomerates like that, they want to be able to boast that, oh, what they are doing as a big company is also helping the smaller guys. Because you guys are many coming together, it gives them confidence that they cannot just go, all of you cannot go out of business at once. Much more than that, once you are able to secure that kind of supply, as a group, it is easier to access major loans because you are all tied together by an off-taker. And because you are different groups, you will now do what is called cross-guaranteeing. You may not have the land for your collateral, but you can cross-guarantee each other in that space. At times, even some major FMCG are happier to even act as the anchor in the collection of the loan that will now be disbursed to all of you. Which means as a small holder, I can now be playing with the big boys just because I was able to collaborate to overcome the issue of low volume. The next thing you need to be able to fight is quality compliance. You must be able to fight is bad quality. You must be able to ensure quality compliance, which means you are not just bringing farmers together because they are smallholder farmers. There must be that conversation. This is how these people want it. We want to be able to supply these people together. You must start thinking of some little low-hanging certifications you can go for. They didn't pay me, so I'm not going to be calling their name. But I know of organizations that when they see a cluster of farmers, they will even pay for you to be certified. They will work with you, bring in all their instruments and everything so that you can be certified, because it also helps them. It also helps the big conglomerate. They want to be able to say we are working with certified farmers. The farmers got certified under our watch. The farmers got certified under our watch. We were able to work with them till they got certified. We were with them, we were training them, we were buying from them. Because they're able to also tell stories like, oh, now the Lagbaja, the child has gone back to school. They can say all of that. But the farmers, the smallholder farmers, does not know the power they possess. And as you start getting certified, your prices start changing in the market. Because the more the proper certification you have, the better compliance the group of farmers have, the more the companies are willing to pay. Just imagine a group of farmers of about 500 that are all Global Gap certified. Just think about that. Your product will be what's it called, hot cake. About they speak their English in the market. Because everybody that is a major conglomerate will want to buy from you. Because they can boast and say all our 500 farmers are Global Gap certified. It's a bragging right. But farmers have not understood how to come together to take advantage of that. Next, I've already talked about it in passing, you are also able to attract better financing as a group. Either from the company, either from third party, because you have a conglomerate that is buying from you. You have a market that can be trusted. You can even work with what they call invoice buyers. These are guys that buys invoices. You can even work with such guys. That again is another option. And of course, as you get more certifications, you are trading more and more, you start getting options of better paying markets. You start getting options of better paying markets. This is not going to be long, so that people are like, oh, my classes at times are too long. So this is just 15 minutes, so we're already rounding up. So all I am saying is this: there is a way to grow without burdening yourself with how do I go and raise SY amount of money. Collaboration, it's your friend. Look for like minds, share with them what you're trying to do. Be honest, be open. This is what we are trying to do. I want us to work together. And there are still honest, decent farmers that will be happy to build with you. Trust me. Thank you for joining.